Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and we're back in the 3.5 Monster Manual on part 2 of the Xill, X-I-L-L, who I, of course, thought was a bug guy, but he's not. He's a reptilian guy. So first I did not do a great job hitting him in black, but that's okay. First, I'm going to just get a very soft brush and some red paint and coat the majority of him. Maybe not getting it in every crack, but, you know, hitting large portions of him. For this, I'm using Flamenco Red. It's a Walmart apple barrel paint deal. It seems to be decent coverage for being a Wally World paint. It's funny because I've had other days where I've used it and the coverage was not that great, so I wonder if it has something to do with it being colder. There are some things I would have liked to add to the Xill after looking at the reference art. For example, I would have liked to give him some little loincloth pieces and stuff, which I didn't do. But that's okay, you know. I don't foresee me using this except for maybe as a one-off just to throw the party off because they won't know what it is to see this miniature for damn sure. Even if they know what a Xill looks like. This is probably more of a proxy than a real Xill, I'm thinking. I could use this as a demon or anything, really. Okay. So once I'm pretty happy with that base coat of red, I might come back around and touch him some more just to brighten him up a little bit. At least in some spots. It's hard to believe this was a scroll. Doesn't even barely look like a scroll anymore, does he? I started my life as a scroll, ended up as a Xill. I'm not sure if that's how he talks. All right. Sweet. I don't know why I rinsed that brush out. That was a mistake. I'm just going to be using it again. All right. Let's take a look at it. We're going to hot air them. Then I'm going to get a lighter red. This is Cardinal Red. I'm not sure how much lighter this is. That's a little bit lighter. I'm going to use that same brush that I unfortunately rinsed out, so it's not going to do a good job. You know what? I'm going to get a different brush. That'll be the fix there. I'm going to get a dry brush. And these are just cheapy makeup brushes from Dollar Tree. I'm sure wherever you are, you have some kind of dollar store. And I just want to make them a little brighter and lighter. Okay. Then I don't really plan on doing too much more with him as far as paint job goes. But we have a lot of gear to do and we have some eyes and stuff. I'll rinse that brush out too. Okay. So I'm going into my browns and stuff now. And I'm going to get a reddish brown called Chocolate Bar and do his boots and bracers with that. I better shake this up because I tried using it yesterday and it was a little... There we go. I just got my brush damp. I use my mouth. You use what you want. Let's just carefully line out those boots. And that's not going to create a big enough difference, so we're going to have to come back with another color and bring those to a different shade after we do this first coat. Something that'll be more noticeable, because that's just not sticking out at all. And that's okay. Sometimes you got to put a little extra in. I was hoping we were just going to throw a coat of this on there and call it a win. This actually might have been a really good base color for him, but that's okay. It would have created some more variation, but I don't want to lighten him up too much more. Okay. And since I kind of already did that, let's do the gloves, or whatever they are. With that. And then we'll come back and hit those with a different color, obviously. Now for these little shoulder pads on the top arms and elbow pads, I'm probably going to do those in a metallic. So I'm not really sure yet. We'll see. All right, putting that away. I'm getting an orange color. This is called chestnut. It's like an orangish brown. I'm going to airbrush him real quick. Or air gun him real quick. I'm sorry, not airbrush. That is so close in color that it is not even noticeable. So we're going to come back through. And that's not going to be noticeable. All right, no problem. No problem at all. So, I'm getting my dark burnt umber color, my brown. And we're going to come with that. And that will be noticeable. There we go. All right, I really wanted these to be lighter. But there's going to be less red and more brown. That's all. Okay. Now, since we have this out, I'm just going to do the handles as the weapons in the same brown. Telling my sons, my older sons are in their 20s. You know, my one son says, you know, you seem like you're pretty happy. What are you doing to make yourself happy? You're not rich, you know, you're not famous, you just kind of got a pretty mundane life, but you seem very happy. Well, there's a couple secrets. One, I'm a pessimist. I always expect the worst. And then if something good happens, well, that's a nice surprise, isn't it? Now, I will tell you, there are times where I become optimistic and I'm generally disappointed. Sometimes I've helped people in need and felt good about it and then found out that it had negative effect, or that, you know, they abused that help. I've, even with like crafts and stuff, I've started out on miniatures and go, oh, I'm going to nail this. Even in the monster manual here, and they've just been terrible. So as a rule, I would say when I was younger, I was a lot more optimistic, and I was always disappointed. As I've gotten older, I've leaned towards pessimism, and it's really paid off. So I would say, yeah, that's one. The other is I try to think about other people more and their situations. And that often takes a lot of stress off of what I'm going through when I realize others are having it worse. And so I focus on what I can do with my resources to improve them. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to give them a car or give them money and stuff. But when I say resources, like say there's someone at work who does the same job as you and they're struggling, in a kind way, not in a condescending way, make an effort to help them, to go out of your way to improve their performance. Don't tell anybody you did it. Don't take credit for it. Just help them. Okay? And you'll find that taking time to focus on other people will make your life better. By like leaps and bounds, by the way, not just slightly. When you see that other people are struggling and suffering and you make a difference, trust me. Again, I've done that in full optimism, and it's backfired. Not the job thing, but I've done, I helped someone get a vehicle. I gave someone money for bills. I've done stuff like that. And that has backfired. But not every time, just sometimes. The third thing is to remember the people in your family are people that you love. So when you get mad at them, treat them in such a way that they know you still love them. And that can be very difficult at times. For example, let's say, we'll pick son number one. Son number one does something horrible, and my first instinct is like, the hell is wrong with you? Do better, man. But no, I stop myself. Every time I stop myself, and I make a concentrated effort to speak to him in a way to let him know that I love him. All right, now, with that dark brown and this chestnut on here, we will see a difference in the tone, I'm hoping. Because I want these to have like an orangish red kind of brown. Okay, so I've wiped a lot of that off. Then we're going to pull it across the boots. And it is definitely more noticeable now. And that's what I wanted. That's the tone that will work. It's not exactly how I visioned it in my head, but it'll work. So yeah, remember that you're talking to someone you love. And when you're at work, remember you're talking to someone that you should respect. Even how much you respect them, they will earn that. But the generic respect that they're a human being with thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Remember that generic respect going into every situation when you're in conflict. That will help immensely with stress in your personal relationships and your family. Keeping that line there. Before I say anything, let me remember who this person is to me. That is definitely, that removes so much stress from my life because I seldom say or do things that I wish I could take back. Now, no one's perfect. I do snap occasionally and say something, I'm not perfect. I don't want you to get the impression that I think I'm perfect. I'm not. But it's just a good advice, trust me. It's better advice than not. All right. So those three things make my life pretty good. And I've also, I take time to be thankful for stuff. And I'm not telling you to be religious or spiritual or anything, but I would say this. If you do have something that you believe in, and you do talk to it, make sure you thank it. Hey, thanks. Thanks for this person who's loyal to me and good to me. Thanks for this person who has agreed to spend their time with me. Thanks for these dogs that are so happy to see me when I come home. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to raise my children in such a way that they love and respect me. Thank you for giving me the wisdom to keep learning and to keep improving and keep growing. And soon, that'll become a habit. And it's not a bad habit to be in, for damn sure. Appreciating what you have. Don't take things at face value all the time. If you see a deal that says car for this much money and you need a car, maybe take a step back from that. maybe take a step back from that. Maybe sometimes things work out perfectly for a reason, and sometimes they don't. Don't be the person who jumps on everything right off the bat. Take your time and think about what you're doing. It will help you make less mistakes, and the less mistakes you make, especially when it has to do with your financial well-being, the less stress you'll feel. Also, this is like a very, dude, people say this all the time and it irritates people, and I used to be one of those people that got irritated by it, but as I'm getting older, I'm learning it's very true. Sleep on it. If you're about to make a big decision, wait till tomorrow. If by any chance you can, wait till tomorrow. And if there's any companies that come calling telling you you have to make this decision today, they're not the kind of companies you want to do business with. If you don't buy this vacuum right now, you'll never get to buy this vacuum. Well, then I guess I don't need that vacuum. If you don't get this roof today, you're not going to get this deal. Well, then maybe I need to seek out some other company that's willing to let me make good decisions for my family and not rush me. That happened to us last year. We decided we wanted a roof. We called a company. They came out. They gave us an estimate. They came back with the paperwork to sign it. And I noticed that the numbers had changed. And I said, hey, yo, dude, this is not what we had agreed upon. I told you what I could afford to pay monthly to pay for this, and you have come up with different numbers. And he tried to explain the numbers were different because of this, and that he could try to get them fixed. I said, no, go ahead and get your stuff and leave. You just, I'm a father with 4 sons and 2 dogs and a beautiful wife, and you're trying to play me. Get out of my house. And he was super irritated. But you know what? I even felt a little bit like a jerk doing it, because you tell he was disappointed. This guy's trying to make a living too. But you know what? Work for a company that's not going to put you in a situation like that. Work for a company where you're guaranteed a wage and you can still be good to people. It's not my job to sustain your stupidity. So, although this was not ideal, looks like our Xill is doing okay. It's doing okay so far. Let's dry them off a little bit and lighten those weapons up some. So, this is Territorial Beige. And I'm going to get a cheapy, crappy plastic bristle brush. And let's lighten those up. And just make those a little more noticeable and pop a little bit more. We don't want to take away from the fact that they're wood. And we have a lot of, similar to the base coat, reddish brown tones right now. So lightening up some of this stuff to make it stand out will help with that. I think once we clear coat this guy, he's going to look pretty good too. I'm going to hit some of these spots that are a little bit dark and similar. Just a tiny bit. Something like that. I'd like to lighten up his face a little bit. So I'm going to get this flag red. I'm just going to use this same brush. This could be a mistake. I don't know yet. We'll see in a minute. And if I just got enough off there, like I did, looks okay. I'm going to hit some of these muscles with it. Lighten those up a little bit too. It's nothing significant, but it's just enough that it's noticeable. All right, so the poker's on his face, and his horns are like white. So to do that, we're going to get beige and ivory. So let's paint the horns up first in the pincers. Let me look at the picture again. Okay. Correct. I feel like there's somebody outside intentionally making noise to irritate me. Like, it's 28 degrees. What are you doing out there banging on shit? Okay. And then while I have that out, I'm going to lighten up those eyes a little bit. That's too big. No problem. Too big for me. There's no way I can shove that in there without making a mess. Let's take a look at them. We're getting there. Getting there for sure. I wasn't going to do this in 2 parts, and I'm kind of glad I did, because it's taken a lot longer than I had thought. So to do this part here, all I'm doing is touching just the front parts of those and the back parts of these. When I say front and back, I mean furthest away from the face. Now, inside his eyes are like a bluish green color. So I'm going to get this dark blue gray and see if I can get in there without making a mess, which I'm not sure I can do. Probably need a much smaller brush. But we can try it. Okay, luck. Pure luck. Because I don't want a red tone as that undercoat for this greenish blue color. Now I'm going to get a bright greenish blue color. And I have chosen turquoise, which is a little more blue than green than I wanted, but that's okay. I'm going to dry that up. And get my limeade and just go back in there and just touch it lightly. Now, I know you can't see from that far away, so I'm going to bring him up so you can kind of see what I got there. I just have a blue outline, or a blue circle, but oval, whatever. And then I'm going to get my fractional brush. I'm going to come back with the fractional brush in the darkest red I used, or one of the darker reds I used, not the darkest. And then I'm going to come up under these eyes and clean that up. And then with that, I'm going to highlight the eyebrows a little bit area and the nose. Now on the weapons, my craft paint silver that I have, a light silver, is dog shit. So I'm going to use this shining silver by Army Painter to do the weapons, to do some work on the weapons and lighten those up. So I'm going to get a little bit of that. And I'm going to get a little bit of white. And when I say a little bit of white, you just want the smidge of white. I'm going to get that brush that has that soft plastic bristles that I was using. I'm going to dab that white and that silver. And then I'm going to hit these weapons with it. Kind of tone those down a little bit. For two reasons. One, I think they're just a little too dark and don't stick out nice. And two, the artwork shows his weapons are like white. But I don't want mine to be white. Alright. So, toss that brush. Let's get a brush and do the base. Take our time here. Hot air gun in that base, and then I'm going to do it in black around the edge. So if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, comment, and all that happy crappy that makes YouTube happy. It makes YouTube say, yes, Doom is doing it okay. I'm not even asking for Doom is doing it great, because we know I'm half-assing this stuff. But Doom's doing okay. Also, check out www.dungeonswag.com. There's a hyphen in there. There'll be a link in the description at some point. Buy some miniatures from us. We'd really appreciate that. We're just two dudes running a business out of our garage and basement. We are not Games Workshop and Hasbro and these big corporations that fire people before Christmas and shit like that. We're just two dudes. We have families that we love and children and dogs. We're not fancy, but we're trying to do our best job to create a good company that takes care of people, sells quality products. Also come to the Discord and hang out with us. Almost every week I do a adventure on there, an RPG adventure on there that I run. It costs nothing. It's absolutely free. Something I do because I want to. Something to give back to the community a little bit so they can have a nice free evening at home. And I enjoy it as well. I love seeing people adventure. I love listening to people laugh when silly things happen. I love creating stories. Let me rephrase that. I love creating situations that let other people tell stories. I give a very rough framework out, and these buffoons amuse me by telling the stories that happen there. All right, so there's my my Xill. I hope you like it. I think he's okay. I'm going to be using it as a scary demon that hunts my party and makes them afraid. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm not going to do a flock on there, I don't think. All right, bye.